Welcome back to Your Magical Midlife. I'm Kate Higgins, your host. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and coach for wild-hearted women in midlife. I cover all kinds of topics, but most importantly, the identity shift that happens in our 40s. Let's dive in. I've been a social worker for 25 years, and I've seen a lot of people in my career for all kinds of things. For depression, for anxiety, for psychosis. I've seen people in serious crisis, and I've seen everyday people like you and me who are just going through it, just need someone to talk to, someone to vent to. So I'm going to say something that might shock or piss you off. I don't think therapy works anymore. I think that as a culture, we have outgrown the model of a 55-minute session every week for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I have a client whose husband has been in psychoanalysis for 15 years. He goes 4 times a week, and he has been for a long time, and she says he hasn't gotten any better. And I don't think that that's uncommon, and I don't necessarily think it's that his therapist is terrible. I think that his therapist is misinformed. I think that no one needs to be in treatment 4 times a week for 20 years unless you are really, really mentally ill. And then, even then, I don't know how useful or effective that really is. I think that if you are on the verge of a little bit of psychosis, like if you are so depressed that your thoughts become distorted, that you start to read things and read situations in a way that is not accurate or true, I think the more you are diving into trauma and running over and over again things that happened in the past, I think the sicker and more dependent on your clinician that you're going to get. I think it's a very damaging model to keep people in treatment for a long time. I don't think it's ethical. I don't think it's helpful. I think it's actually damaging. And this is one of the reasons why I am shifting away from traditional therapy, because I've really come to the conclusion that at best, it doesn't do a whole lot. At best, people use it for a venting session, someone to just listen to them and hold attention and space for them for 55 minutes, and then that's it, because I think people are craving someone to just stop and witness them. But stopping and witnessing someone isn't really enough to make major changes. It's helpful. It's healing, because let's be honest, like most people don't have any attention span to listen to someone's entire story all the way through without interjecting. And a therapist, hopefully, at the very least, can keep their mouth shut while someone is telling a story. But I hear, and I've seen on the Reddit feeds, that a lot of therapists can't even do that. So that's a whole other episode. I think that we're all sort of infused in ADHD and ADD, and I think that scrolling and social media has definitely escalated that. We're given so much information and bombarded with so much stuff in such a short period of time that our attention spans are like half that of a goldfish. It's so sad. So I don't think that therapy, just general talk therapy, is all that effective or all that useful, especially in this day and age. For me, the most healing and transformative moments I've had have been moments where I've been not just witnessed, but been walked through an experience. I've been walked through a healing ritual of some kind. And that is what I am bringing out into the world now. That is the work I'm doing now. I'm walking women through these 4 distinct phases Maiden, which is exploration and self-discovery. The Mother, which is about creativity and nurturing, whether that be nurturing a child, a partner, or yourself. The Empress, which is the plateau between youth and old age, where we are pausing, we are looking back at everything we have learned, all the lessons we have gathered in our time on the planet, and we are looking ahead at the woman that we want to be, the woman we want to age into. And the Crone, that final phase where you sum up your lessons, you pass down what you've learned to the younger generation, and you leave your legacy. And I believe that these steps aren't even necessarily linear, and we can float between them and regress. It's not really the word I was looking for, but go back to a maiden phase or go back to a mother phase, even if you are 50 or 60 or 70 out of that age time window. You can go forward into a crone phase as a young girl as you are planning what you want to leave behind. So the phases themselves are not necessarily tied to ages, but when you pass through one phase to another, I think it's very healing to create a physical mark of like, okay, I'm done with this phase and I'm stepping into that phase. And to step through that portal, marking it with a rite of passage. And that's what I am doing now in my coaching practice and why I am walking away from the traditional therapy model, or hope to. I don't want to have to negotiate any longer with insurance companies. And I don't want to give someone a DSM-5 diagnosis, medication recommendations, and a treatment plan. I think that medical model, I think it's time for it to fall away. I think it's so much more healing to walk with someone in the woods as we talk about what they've been through and scatter the ashes of something they want to leave behind that they wrote down in a long letter and burned in a fire, and leave those ashes scattered in the woods or float them down a creek or a river. I think that is so much more healing than sitting in a little office with a fern and some Wayfair furniture and some neutrally framed photographs of pressed flowers and talking and talking and talking and talking and never resolving and never reflecting and never getting better. So, clearly, therapy still pays my mortgage. But what I'm hoping is that I can step into this work and really move the needle with women, really help them put the past behind them and move forward with enthusiasm, optimism, and real change. If you're interested in this work, you can check out my newly revamped website, which is www.yourmagicalmidlife.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at yourmagicalmidlife.com. And I'll talk to you next week.